Well, Annie, thank you for coming on to the Cat Chat podcast. Well, my podcast is ranging from Hallmark to special platforms and social issues for society. So I'm trying to branch it out. So I really appreciate us connecting and make our schedule work together to come on the podcast to talk about your career.
Well, thank you, Kat, for first of all being so patient because I know that we've tried to get this scheduled a few times and my travel schedule is so bonkers. So I really appreciate you being patient with me because I'm excited to do this with you.
It's a pleasure, and I understand with the traveling, with the schedules and movie premieres or movie locations or event locations. So I've had maybe a podcast with Nikki Delos. I think
Oh,
last year we had to schedule 4 times with the
yep.
Hallmark situation and her kin situation. They're all good. Water under the bridge, all good. And we made it work. So I was really thankful for that. So I understand.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone's busy. Everyone's got something. Yeah.
All right. So please tell me a bit about yourself. I mean, how did you start your how did you start your career in communications of Hallmark and media?
I fell into it really. It's funny. I always loved to write from a young child. I wrote and wrote. I wrote short stories. I had a sixth grade teacher up there in Ontario who I still keep in touch with to this day, if you could imagine that. I was only his second class ever. And his name was Steve Morris. I still keep in touch with. I love him. But he encouraged us to be who we were. And he saw in me a writer, and I loved it, and he inspired it. So he had me write a story every week. And then on Fridays, I would read it to my class. And I give him a lot of credit for, giving kids a platform to do what they did well. So that was the start of it, really. And I moved to Washington, D.C. in the 80s after I graduated from college. And I ended up in a very entry level position in a public affairs agency with two former presidential press secretaries. And so here I'm this kid from Canada, and I'm working for these two US press secretaries. One was President Carter's, and the other was Sheila Tate, who was Nancy Reagan's press secretary. And I knew nothing about American politics. But what I
Wow.
did learn was how to write really well. They were great teachers, how to do a campaign, and I fell into crisis communications there. They also taught me how to media train. So they gave me the baseline for my career, but I knew the minute I was doing it that this was it. This is what I wanted to do. Uh, so a friend of mine talk about networking, the importance of networking. I've kept up my networks for 3 decades and longer, and still keep in touch with people from the beginning of my career. Uh, he heard about an opportunity to launch Discovery Health, which was part of Discovery, the whole system. And I ended up there for almost 12 years, and I headed up their communications department, which had Discovery Channel, TLC, Animal Planet, travel. Um, and that's where I really started my television career. And after I left there, I ended up at Hallmark. And so this is my second stint. I was there for 3.5 years. I left. And then 6.5 years, I went back, and I've been back there for 5 years. So it's crazy.
Wow, that's really amazing with your given background and you started off as a writer and then I completely flowed into public relations. Have you ever thought about maybe not going back but like trying again with writing and see if you can make something out of your short stories or anything like that?
I have a file I've kept in my drawer forever that's called book. And and I have chapters written, and my friends are like always, because silly, crazy things happen to me. So my friends are like, when are you going to write a book about your career and about the fact that silly, crazy, weird things happen to you. And so it's still there, and I still love the creative side of it, but I write every day for work. I mean, part of a public relations job, a corporate communications job is writing. So it's a lot of messaging and talking points and positioning, and so, and I love that. I love that side of writing as well. I love solving puzzles, solving issues. Even if I don't solve them, I like trying to figure it out. And a lot of that is about what you say, how to say, why to say it, when to say it, what not to say, right? Yeah.
You never know, never know. Like if you throw the project at the point and put it away, the couple of years later, like, maybe I should
Right.
do something about it. Give it a
Yeah.
try. I was the same way with COVID. I started writing a book, and I left it alone for a while. Now I'm back into the
Good.
process, finishing it up because I'm trying to come
Good.
back with the editor in 2026 to start the editing process, the finished product in a couple of years. I'll be a published author.
I hope so. You'll inspire me to get off my butt and do it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, if you need help or someone to read it, I'd be happy to read it
Yeah.
along
I'll
with a
read it.
couple of
I'll
your
read your book.
friends.
Yeah, I'll read your book. Yeah.
For sure, yeah. What okay, Hallmark cards and Hallmark media. What was your role and how did your role evolve between cards and media to responsibilities?
Yeah, it's what I love is that a year ago, and I've wanted this for a long time because it just makes sense, right? So we have this 117-year-old legacy company, right? Where the brand is everything. Hallmark, the Hallmark brand means something to millions of people around the world. And then on the flip side, we have this media company, right? So it's the visual expression of that brand. But we did things as two separate companies. So a year ago, we created this brand piece that kind of went down the center. So anything touching the consumer, whether it was a product, a card, um, social, or what we do with movies and series comes through the same place of the brand lens, which I love. So that's where I sit now, and I love it because it's opened up this whole different world of possibilities. We're like, how could this show that we're doing also, do something with the stores or show a product or a card, or we have a campaign that we do together, because at the end of the day, it's one brand and people don't separate the two of us. So why should we? I always love to say, when you go to a Hallmark store, there's a card for everyone. Well, when you turn on the TV, there should be a story, a love story for everyone. And so now we're like bringing the two of those together in this beautiful way. And I get to do communications and PR for the whole, and I love it.
Yeah. I like whenever I go into town at the Hallmark store, my kids are like, Mom, and then, oh, we're going. So I will find something small and cute, movie
Right.
related or theme related. And I really like Hallmark cards because sometimes I try to think of, on top of my head, like a quote or a thing, like a Hallmark movie and just like a Hallmark card that comes to
Right.
life, you know?
Right.
That kind of thing.
I love it. And we want to do more. Like we want to bring some of our actors to the Hallmark Star and stores and do some meet and greets and autograph signings at the stores. Bring the two together.
Yeah, that would be nice if you could get them actors out to Wisconsin. Love you forever.
In the summer. In the summer.
All right, keep me posted. I make sure
Yeah.
I'm around because I'm not going anywhere in Wisconsin, so I'll keep that in mind. Um, what do you enjoy most about your job?
A bunch of things I love about it. I love creativity. I like that you can use both sides of your brain, in the strategy of building a company and running a company, but at the same time, like what are those things that we can do that really inspire people and make people feel good? I love all of that. I think the thing I love the most about my job now at this stage in my career is teaching and mentoring and coaching this next generation of people on my team. I love running a team. And one of the most meaningful things I've received as a gift, I have all these little word project bracelets, and one of the young women on my team for Christmas gave me one that says teacher. And I love it because I always saw myself as a teacher and thought that's what I was actually going to do before I got into PR. And the fact that she sees me as a teacher meant everything in the world to me. So that I think is the most gratifying part of my job. The second thing is working on these experiences and events where you just see the joy that the brand and our actors and what we do, what our movies and series mean to people, how it brings them joy, it brings them contentment and happiness. That's infectious.
Yeah, I believe every aspect of any kind of job, there's teaching or mentoring
Yes,
involved, like PR, like one big thing, but PR also can mean many different things. It could be
many,
directly
many, right.
media, it could be directly TV, it could be directly to the company, it could be directly this brand, and you have different people, different mentors. So yeah, I see what you mean by being a teacher on a public
Right.
relation for Hallmark and helping other people find their way or their interest of a position.
Yeah, and I mean, the PR can get, communications can get very complicated. Like on social, people see the fun sides of it, right? They see the result, but it's the result of months and months and months and sometimes years of work, right? But they also don't see all the heartache that can go into this job and like, why don't you say something like that? Why don't you react to that? So teaching like, well, that response could elicit an even worse reaction from people or those words, like words matter. That's the biggest thing I think is understanding that words and actions matter. And for me, you know, always protecting who we are as a brand, always protecting our values, our integrity is really, really important. And sometimes you've seen that we'll get attacked for something. You'll also see that I rarely react to that, because reaction is emotion, response is thought. So I always tell my team, like, let's take a breath and choose a response and be thoughtful because look at the color of my hair. I'm a redhead. I'm Italian, Scottish, and Irish. I want to be like, what do you mean? But you can't. So part of that is helping people understand why. Why are we choosing this way to go? Why are we choosing these words? And it's not always cut and dry or black and white.
Yeah, everybody's different and everybody comes from a different heritage or family background. Like we have African American, we have the
Right,
Chinese, Asian
right.
culture, we have the Mexican, Spanish, and we have Irish. Yeah, so I could see how like hot tempered or
Yeah,
somewhere between. So I have to be careful with the words and
and also
actions at the job place or out there, so we don't take it for the wrong way.
right. And we're a brand for everybody. So we don't want to take a stand that harms another group, right? Or, it's very hard to be Switzerland sometimes because people feel like you're not taking a stand. Well, we're not an activist brand, we're not an advocacy brand, we're a brand for all people. And that means that you have to be really disciplined in making sure that you stay true to that. Yeah.
What is the most challenging thing for you in your job? What is the most difficult thing you experience and how to do overcome it, make it work through?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. I think with, if you go, the first thing I tell people coming who want to learn about careers and communications is this is a job where you cannot control everything. You can't, yeah, you can do you can do all your due diligence, you can be thoughtful, you can do all your prep, but at the end of the day, a reporter is going to write the story the way the reporter writes it, right? If we're not sitting down there writing the story for them. So we can go through a message and it just comes out the way it comes out. Or on social, um, we can't control sometimes when people get on a bandwagon on an issue that will take off and make be completely incorrect. So it's very challenging to try to stop negative messages from rolling out or chipping away at your brand. So trying to put some, close that negative news cycle as quickly as you can so it doesn't do damage. It's really, it gives me a stomach ache sometimes because it's like, oh, like they don't understand, like that's not what's happening. I think an example is even, today we were grappling with poor Brennan lost his wife, and Brennan Elliott, and it is horribly sad, and he is one of the most beloved people on our network. He's been with us since before Cedar Cove, right? And the loveliest human being. It's his birthday today, so we've planned for a very long time to have a marathon on air, and all weekend we were like, oh, what do we do, because we don't want people to think we were doing something to take advantage of this loss. We would never do that. And you saw some social comments that suggested that's what we were doing. It's like, no. And at the same time, it's like, we're celebrating Brennan and his work and his life, and it's his birthday, and we'll continue the marathon, but we'll dial down on some of the promotion and make it clear we would never, ever take advantage of something as sad as that. But you're looking at public perception and people who are just making up a story they don't know is true, right? So
Yeah, some
that's
people were like
very,
give away, like, I mean, really dad, and I give Brandon Elliott and his family my deepest condolence of his wife. And I've been watching his social media and his articles and his posts, trying to keep up. Great
yeah,
time, not so great time, great time. And I just wanted to put out there that I really appreciate his personal ethnic and work ethnic, because of course he's not the only Hallmark actress in the Hallmark world, along with public relations, media, communication, media, anything with
yeah,
Hallmark have lost someone due to cancer or lost someone through old age or anything. So
right.
I really appreciate him and how much effort he put in his work and letting
Me
his
too.
fans know he's okay. He's appreciated. And I really think honoring Brandon Elliott and his talent, having a marathon, shows more of like a contribute or a tribute or a sign of us saying, we love you, we're here for you, and we celebrate all of his movies. I'm very excited because I love all of the movies he's been in. He's just like a
And
very
that's
intelligent
ultimate.
actor, so I get where you're coming from and how that was an example of public relations and how they schedule things or what to show, when, or how much and why.
Right.
So that
And
was
then being able to
wow.
mitigate, like we had to stop and say, oh, okay, what's the right move? What's the right thing to do? Because we don't want to do something that is, we just would never do that, right? So it was really important. But exactly what you said, that's where we landed. He's beloved, and it's a celebration of him. And today is his birthday, and it was a long time planned. It would, so I think that's part of public relations. That's part of us. I always say my parent, all parents are like, what do you do? And it's like, it's so hard to explain, right? So I made up a thing that makes it easier for people to understand that what we do is the promotion and or protection of people, brands, and businesses, right? So you're either promoting something or you're protecting it or you're doing a little bit of both, but you're doing all of that all the time. So it's as much about, yes, getting people to watch the shows as it is about protecting people, brands, and companies.
That's fascinating. I mean, I'm really finding new questions out of my head as we talk.
Yeah,
So it's very fascinating. I never really got into anybody related with public relations, especially with Hallmark, because Hallmark is a big thing. It's a big company. It's just not movies, it's cars, it's product, it's TV shows, it's everything. Home improvement shows, cooking shows, family shows, all of that.
that's right. It's
Um,
fun though. It's a blessing. It's a blessing to work on a brand. It's a blessing to work at a company like this. It really is.
I'm sure I'll be like, I mean, I want to go work for Hallmark, but they need to set someone up somewhere here so I don't have to move or up.
That's right.
I want to work for Hallmark somehow. What? I don't know, but I wouldn't mind.
Right. Do some writing.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll come up with, I'm actually working on a little bit of a Hallmark group, but I'm not there yet. So I'm just like getting some ideas in, trying to visualize it and how to tell a story. So I'm working on it. So many
Good.
things I'm working on. So now can you tell me what is your partake in Hallmark planning event? I know you have done Hallmark Cruising and Kansas City Christmas, I don't know, Christmas Experience in Kansas City.
Mhm.
So tell me about your process. Like, how did you come up with these kind of events and where did you start? Up leading to the big event one day or a couple of days.
So this has been a work in progress over a course of a long time. We've wanted to get into this experiential space for a while. It was a matter of like we did a lot of exploration, a lot of studying, a lot of observing very quietly for years, right? To see like, okay, what are people doing? What are they into? And then off also, you've seen it yourself, Kat, people line up out the door to meet the Hallmark stars. So we knew that and we also knew like a lot of people were out there doing all kinds of stuff with our stars. Why are we not doing it ourselves? So it's funny, I was a bunch of us had ideas, like there was different groups that thought we should do a cruise, right? It's like so it wasn't any one person, but there was a guy who has since passed on, sadly, Chad Harris, who really finally took the bull by the horns and decided, okay, we're going to try a cruise, right? And it was really exciting because I think the stats. We sold out that first cruise in less than 5 hours. It was like gone. The whole
Oh, I
thing was
know. I
full,
believe I was
right?
told that but I haven't even clicked just to look or something,
5 hours.
I
I
can
mean,
afford a cruise. But I was like,
yeah,
why
yeah, we
would I go on live? I live through vicariously through her because I have a
oh,
bunch of connections. I was like, cruise, I'm gonna make that happen for me only one day. When I don't know, but one day I'm
we got
going
to
on the
figure this out.
cruise.
We got to figure this out, right? Because then so we decided, okay, we had the opportunity to grab a second boat for a second week, and that sold out in less than a day. And we had 70,000 people on the wait list. 70,000. We broke Norwegian's reservation system. So they had to
Amazing.
yes, it was so that in of itself showed like, okay, like we could plan a cruise a week and sell it out, it looked like, right? So we we wanted to make it really special. We started with a smaller boat and now we're going on this when it's going to be a bigger boat, it's going to be a different experience, right? So we're trying to figure out the right formula. But it was very clear, uh, the joy people felt, on that cruise. It was really truly heartwarming to see that so many people were looking for this place of happiness and contentment and joy that's really hard to find in the world right now. And it was like they wanted to like just disappear for 4 days and feel like they're a part of the brand, part of Hallmark, like almost dipping into a Hallmark movie, and the actors that we brought on both cruises, they were different for each cruise. I mean, these are some of the people who are the most beloved and who spend time with their fans and want to. It's not like, hey, here you go. Here's your money. 4 days, just suck it up and no. If in fact it's the opposite. It's like, oh my gosh, you know, you have a schedule to keep. You can't be out there hugging and kissing people for 3 hours because you actually have a schedule of other things to do. But all they want to do is spend time with their fans and say thank you. And even on the last night, there was this really emotional moment where the on the second cruise where they lined up on the stage and each of them took a moment to express thanks and gratitude. And it was so beautiful. I mean, it was really moving. It was this place of, here's the best thing. That day, the first cruise left on election day. I was freaking out
Oh
because I
yeah,
thought, oh,
yeah,
Lord, there's going to be fights. There's going to be people. It's going to be divisive. People are going to be, mean to each other. And, long before we got on there, we asked, hey, can we make this a place of, like maybe neutral and not bring politics in it too? But you can ask that till the cows come home. People are going to do
yeah.
what they want. I'm telling you, not one peep, not one hat, not one t-shirt, nothing. It was all about joy and Christmas and unity. No one asked who you voted for, no one cared. It was about holding hands and linking arms around something special.
Yeah, with the election day, that was the concern. That was that, because
Oh,
the big day, and of course I knew nothing would happen because people go on that cruise for one reason only, to be with their friends, to meet other bands, and meet the actors, actresses, writers, directors, producers, and you and your team as well on the cruise. The people are like, I don't care who wins well, I do care who wins the election, but I don't care about that right now. I'm gonna worry about that when I get home and that we
that's
can make
right.
it through the next 4 or 8 years. I mean, I don't talk politics with, I mean, really, I don't talk about politics with anyone unless they can have like a rational conversation. I hear you, do hear me, and we leave it at that.
Same.
That's with
I'm
me
the
with
same.
football. I mean, I will talk trash when it comes to football, but
Me
I
too.
am still fun at the end of the game, at the end of the season. So here and out. I'm the Packer fan. I'm a number one Green Bay Packer fan. I mean, I would not join any bandwagon of any team, and I'm a Buffalo Bills fan by marriage. So
Go
that
Bills. I'm obviously a Bills fan because I grew up in Toronto. And then I've lived in DC for 36 years, so I'm a big Washington fan, even though I do not like our new team name at all. But I'm still a Washington fan.
no, I was that Washington Commanders.
Have you seen
Okay,
our mascot?
good.
It makes me want to cry. It's so bad. I thought it was a joke. But anyway, I love hockey, I love football, but I don't talk politics either. I just don't. I feel like that's everybody has their right to have their choice and their opinion, and that is it. And I just don't. I don't like the ugliness right now. I don't like the divisiveness. There was a time look, when I started my career for 12 years, I worked for two press secretaries, one from the left, one from the right. And that was quite on purpose, which was to have this bipartisan view of the world. And that's disappeared. It's sad,
Yeah,
you
during
know?
that day, I would watch the Hallmark all day. Look, can't
Yeah.
look, Hallmark all day long. Looking through my front social media when they were leaving the crew. Oh, but ไม่ใช่ดูทาง
Yeah.
หายไม่ใช่ดูทางมันก็มาหากันนะอ๋อ
But then the
oh.
experiences came out of that. So there's this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful human in Kansas City at our headquarters named Lindsay Roy. And she's been on the marketing and creative team for years and years and years under now we have a shared boss in Darren Abbott. So Darren is the chief brand officer and Lindsay has taken this new role as head of experiences and she's brilliant. Like she's just brilliant. I just adore her as a person, as a human, which makes, coming to work and working with someone like that just a joy. So her job is to, leverage all of these fan experiences. So, Kansas City is obviously our headquarters, and Hallmark owns a lot of downtown Kansas City, and they have this beautiful, Crown Center where for decades there has been Christmas activations outside for the community, from the skating rink to tree lightings. What they decided to do was create this little weekend experience that augmented what they were already doing. So panels with, the actors. It's the first time the actors have done something like this in the community. Um, the behind the scenes and the meals and like the special brunches and like there's so many special things that we're doing and we're learning and we're changing some things up for next year. They're going to make it even better. But it was amazing. We had people from all 50 states and 20 countries. We had over 100,000 visitors. I mean, it was fantastic.
That's amazing. And
Mhm.
yeah, that leads up to my next question. With those two new events that Hallmark had really promote and just to try it out and see how it goes, what are some of the things that you are looking to improve for the cruise setting and for the Kansas City Christmas experience? Because I know you said something with the reservation or booking tickets or grabbing them online. So another option was like a line or a quiz. So you open up, like for example, Christmas, Hallmark Christmas Cruise ticket will open up at 12 o'clock Eastern Time. That means 11 Central and 10 PST. I'm learning my time down. So, yeah, 1
Yeah.
hour ahead in Vancouver, Canada. And then people will log in with their account and there will be space in the line. That's what happened with Christmas Con last year because the system went down. We were like,
Yeah.
this year
I
they
mean,
had like a new setup, and I really liked that. I walked out, I got in, I got my ticket and everything. So what are some changes and some things we're looking to improve next year to make the band experience smoother? If there aren't
yes.
any complications.
Yeah, we had a couple hiccups for sure, right? So, what it's always you're always going to learn when you're first time out, right? We had not done anything like it, so we were cognizant that the most important thing is the consumer experience, right? When they're there. I mean, I can't speak to the website and all of that stuff. I know that they are looking for ways to keep improving the experience, even getting in on the ground, it's a matter of cutting down time in line, being able to pre-book some of the experiences, right? So that those things, so their schedule is more set, things like that. Making sure that people do get an opportunity to see and meet the talent that are there. A lot of people came and were not able to, right? So we're looking at how do we make that more possible. more brunches, more meals where, the talent can come and be at those meals, right? And I think we know the ones that really went well. There's a couple that didn't do well at all, and we're not doing those anymore. So it really is trying to adjust to make sure that whoever spends the money to be there, to take the time, leave there feeling like it was time and money well spent and have memories for a lifetime. That's what we hope. Same for the cruise. Now we're on a different boat this year. So it's going to be a different experience, right? So part of this will be balancing the expectation that you were having to program a very different boat with different spaces. However, cut way down on the line, more opportunity to get merchandise in this. Like there was one teeny little store on the last boat. Like this one will have like spaces. They love the interaction with the Hallmark artists, like the lettering artists and the designers. So doing more of that. The cookie decorating was a sticky mess. So we are like, how do we make that a better experience for everybody, right? Um, and also leave with something that they're gonna want to take with them. So there's all kinds of conversations. We've been in meetings since the beginning of the year, regularly, weekly, to tackle all of this stuff, and we'll stay in those meetings right to the day that we leave to execute.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, handling both big events in the same year. I wanted to kudos to the
Thank
Hallmark
you.
company that put them with all the planning, especially trying to get talent from one place to another to another. I mean, I would have to give the kudos to the talent, bouncing from one city to another city in 2 or 3 months before they
It
even
was
get
crazy. It
downtime.
was
And with
crazy.
their filming, crazy.
Well, because remember, we launched. So I mean, we joked that we all had like our eyes were twitching because it was like, oh my Lord, like we're trying to do this all in the same year, but we launched Hallmark Plus in September. So we launched a brand new streaming service with original content. And then because it was our 15th anniversary of Countdown to Christmas, we did a three-city tour on bus. I don't know if we're going to do that again or not because it was a lot. But we're going to do some special stuff for this year. But that's a week long, and you're talking 20 to 30 talent on that. And then, we have, 11 people on each cruise and then 10 every weekend. And it was my talent relations. And then there's a casting and strategy talent team. So they're doing the deals. We're doing all the logistics. And it's
That's
something.
amazing. I mean, yeah, but looking at all the talent and I put it on every weekend for Kansas City trying to coordinate, see if I can make it because I was already going to another event in December. So my friends are like, gotta come next year. I mean, we'll figure out a
It's
way
so
or
fun.
something. Okay, maybe one weekend, but I cannot be there every single weekend. Even though it's like a 6 hour drive, I have kids, I have a job, and I have all that.
Yep.
So maybe one weekend I will go, but it had to be the weekend I want to see whoever I want to see in that same weekend. If it's, you know, Tiger Hine, the Three Wise Men, the Groomsmen, Bethany Joyland, Chris Palaha, or whatever, all in one weekend. Okay, I'm good. But it was like here. I have to make a choice. We're
You do
making
have to make
the
a
most
choice. This is the
impactful
hard part,
choice.
right? Because we can't clone certain people, right? So, however, we do make a concerted effort to make sure that every weekend, has a really good representation of people that our fans want to meet and see, right? And so we're already putting those plans together, and it's going to be really exciting. I don't think you can go wrong. That's what I'm going to say. I don't think pick a weekend. I don't think you can go wrong.
All we can do the best. There's no one way to
Right.
tackle with another. I'm telling
Right.
you, it would be the all we can will be the best. So I'm
That's
looking
right.
forward to see and hear updates for the upcoming Hallmark experience and events coming this year. So I'm looking forward to that.
They're
Now let's
coming.
talk about the
They're
hot
coming
ticket.
soon. Yeah.
Now the hot ticket in the holiday touchdown, a cheap love story. I know you have been working hard on that with the promotion, with behind the scenes, with all of that. It came from one small commercial and then just blew up
Yep.
to a movie. So tell me a little bit about your experience walking through with the holiday touchdown with an amazing cast, amazing crew, and I'm sure everybody can't say the word nothing but amazing to make all of the magic happen for all Hallmark fans. Wishing that was a different football team, but that's not the case. We made a movie about romance
Yes.
football.
And the funny thing is, like, so you're a Wisconsin fan, you're a Bills fan, I'm a Bills fan and a Washington fan, right? That movie appealed to football fans. If you love love and football, you're gonna like this movie, right? And it was just such a beautiful story. But I'll never forget Tyler called me and said, so I think I'm doing this movie. I'm doing this mini movie with the Chiefs. I was like, what? What do you mean you're doing a mini? What are you doing? Right. And he said, yeah, I thought you should know. He goes, it's just like a promotion for the playoffs. And I said, well, thank you for telling me, number one. But number two, oh my gosh, like that's amazing. And then when we saw it, it was so perfect. And immediately our programming team, sparked to it was like, okay, there's something here. What are we doing? Right. And by the way, we had just started doing this one hallmark of it all. It was almost like all the stars aligned, right? So you have the Kansas City Chiefs, we're headquartered in Kansas City. And you have like the Taylor and Travis of it all, but even though they weren't part of it, it was in the zeitgeist, this love story, right? So it all came together. The funniest part of it, I think you may know this, Kat, is that the woman who wrote it was Julie Sherman Wolfe, who is a notorious 49ers fan. Notorious. Like she's a diehard. And
Yeah.
Sam DePippo called her and asked her to write this like a day after they lost to the Chiefs. And it was like, what kind of cruel thing is that to do to somebody? But she did, she wrote it and it was beautiful. And it just all came together, but we decided we want to make this like as special as you get because we knew it was going to be the first year of the experience. It was Kansas City. It was all these things coming together. So they have this beautiful cast with people like Ed Begley Jr. and Deirdre Bader and then we had obviously a fan favorite being Tyler and then Hunter at the helm, and it was just so fun. And I have to say, in all the years that I have been doing this and have partnered with organizations, I have never worked with an organization as kind, as professional, and as intelligent as the Chiefs team was. They were amazing. So it was just a joy. When we wrapped and the premiere was over and it was done, we actually got depressed that we didn't get to work with them anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching that movie. I was a little nervous, but I was like, okay, this is a football movie, romance movie. This should be no problem for me. I'm watching it. It was just like a perfect taste. It was the perfect amount. It was not too much football or
Right,
only about football. It was the backstory with like a special hat. Like I have a special teacher, so I have a
right.
special teacher for the Packers. We made it through the playoffs, and that unfortunately, someone took it from us, but that's okay. So all of that, it was like a perfect measurement of football, romance, family dynamic, of the history, and of how to change tradition. Yes, this is a tradition, but it's okay to change it or modify it because
That's right.
I thought that when I was this is the perfect movie. I was very, very happy to see the Chiefs were playing Green Bay Packers on TV that in that movie and we won. So that was my spotlight of the Chiefs story. So thank you so much for that,
You're
Hallmark.
welcome. That's funny.
So yeah, I mean, really, and I think everybody loved that. I mean, there were a little bit of critical comment on like, whatever, they don't know they don't know what they're talking
Yeah.
about. They need to watch this movie again and just soak it in. I mean, it was amazing how Hallmark was able to pull it off. And I think I was like, my friend was like, it could be a movie. I'm like, what? That could be a movie?
I know we were so excited. We were so excited. It was so fun to work on it.
Yeah. So that wrapped up the chief story. Now, to wrap up this whole episode, I wanted to talk about like do you have a favorite. Well, I can't ask the favorite Hallmark movie or do you have a favorite team? Do you have a favorite parent? It doesn't have to be one. It could be a few because you are considered Hallmark. So I think you have to pick everybody or if we take a movie.
There is no way I will pick between the children. Here's the thing, it's true, and it sounds like baloney, but I'm not kidding you. Every one of them are so special in their, and you know this, you've met so many of them in their own way. You can't possibly choose one from another because they're different. Like I love them for different things, right? And but as a aggregate, the whole, there is just this it's just this community of, it's a family, really. They really are, of warm, caring, giving, loving humans. And I've been in TV a long time. I have never seen anything like it in my life. I've never seen actors who come out for each other and promote each other's films. And hey, watch my friend tonight in her movie. And hey, my friend's series is premiering tonight. They root for each other. So therefore, I root for them all. And I love them all.
Yeah, I agree with you. That I just had to ask. They're like, why are you asking me this question? I'm not like I could do a top 10, top 40, or 45 Christmas movie countdown to Christmas. You could say 40 of them. I just had to ask. But like
You were
you
going to see if I was going to
said, every
crack
one
and
of
break
them.
my own rule about.
Nah, I wouldn't do that to do. People ask me like, what are my favorites? I give you a favorite Christmas movie. I give you a favorite fall movie. I will give you a favorite of each. But there's no way I could choose all of them because, like you said, every movie is different, special, unique,
Yeah,
and how all Hallmark actors, the actors share show their personal self in each movie.
that's right. Well, the funny thing is, I do have one I watch over and over and a half for years and years and years, and it was a Hallmark Hall of Fame, but it was The Lost Valentine with Betty White way back when. It's the most beautiful movie, right? Her husband goes to war and doesn't come home, and she goes to the same place every year on Valentine's Day, which is when they got married, in hopes that he will come home on the train. I bawl my eyeballs out. So I love that movie.
The only Hallmark classic Christmas movie that I have to watch at least I don't know Christmas in July. If it's not there, I have it on Prime. Christmas in July or the Christmas Countdown or Christmas Theater that maybe two times in The Matchmaker Santa.
Oh
That's
yeah.
one of my favorite
Yep.
classic movie. It's just
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I love all the royal ones. I love the ones, the ones of late that have a lot of comedy and humor in them. I think it's fun to see that side of our actors come out. Like Ben Ayers is so funny. Kimberly Sustad's so funny. Paul, I think I love seeing that side of them come out in these movies.
definitely, definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
the Santa class, I was just watching that with a group of friends at Christmas con. I was just like, oh no, Holly did that movie, please.
So
I just
funny.
cannot stop laughing. One of the blockbuster hits of Christmas season, aside from a few others that we were the man and a boy, Santa Claus, and there was another one I can't recall. Santa tell me, I'm not
Oh,
sure, but
Santa Tell Me. Yeah, that was cute. Yeah. And the one with Janelle. sugar plums. I thought that was super cute. But
Oh,
yeah.
well, thank you, Annie. I mean, if you want to have that couple of minutes, if you give you an opportunity to comment on anything or ask any questions, feel free.
No, yeah, I'm so delighted to finally get a chance to talk with you, and I really appreciate you inviting me here too. It's been wonderful. Let's do it again sometime.
Definitely thank you again for your time to come on the Cast Chat podcast tonight. And once I hear the more news or more information, more announcement, I will start planning and try to make 1 week on our Kansas City Christmas
One weekend.
experience. Unsure about the cruise, but that's my plan for 2026. Hopefully,
Perfect.
I'm saving in different places, saving the cash for that. Saving the cash for that. And my husband's like, how many events are you gonna go? I'm like, how many do I need to escape my reality? And how many I'm gonna go?
That's right.
Well, thank you, Annie. I appreciate it. Have a great evening.
All right. Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you so much.